The Wigan MP, superb. She came down, and it wasn't just a one-off. She came several times. She came down. She was on an evening with us. She was there when they tried to run me over on the gate. And she witnessed that. So I mean, she was there on several evenings. You know, a very, very good MP, standing up for the people in a constituency where MPs should, you know, should be standing up. You know, they should be standing up for the people, especially when they're fighting to make sure that people, you know, don't get exploited.
Absolutely.
So have the Hovis management back down now? Because they were
they gave in.
They were sacking people and hiring them on.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Hovis dispute. In the first week, like I say, we got 24 0-hour contract workers put into full-time positions, and the other part of the dispute was about the use of agency. And the company reached an agreement not to use agency. There's an agreement in place that says that unless there's, you know, specific circumstances like new orders, you know, and they just can't get the staff in, then they would be able to utilise an agency. But if they're there for a period of 12 weeks,
they become full-time.
They become full-time employees. So which is good. You know, which is better than, you know, than most other Hovis factories. I mean, what they wanted us to commit to as part of that deal was an agreement that we wouldn't try and get the same deal at all the other sites. And I said, what do you think we are? You know, how daft do you think we are? You know, if our members are prepared to go out and fight for it at those sites, you should tell them we're going to back them. In fact, they should be going out and doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
quite a victory, wasn't it? They seem to capitulate quite quickly. I mean.
They did. Yeah. I mean, there's the strength of our argument and the support. that was the key. I mean, we had people contacting us from all sorts of organisations. You know, people putting blogs on websites. I mean, they had to take that. They actually employed someone for the first 8 hours on this particular day to do their website. After 8 hours, they gave up because they lost control, and then they took the websites down. You know, they claimed that their business wasn't being impacted. But we had all these photographs being shown all over, and social media was big for getting that message out. Social media, all these photographs of empty shelves of Hovis. Everybody else's shelves were full, and then it's got a little sticker saying no delivery today and stuff like that. You know, and then like with what the people at the site were actually doing as well was they were getting people coming down and filming them. You know, filming, you know, what was going on, and then somebody put it to music. You know, and then like the last day, the amazing last day, you know, they actually opened up. Unison offices were being opened up in Bolton and places like that. The NUT offices were being opened up, and they were bringing them in for the supper. You know? and I mean, when if you put Union Man, right, if you put Hovis Union Man into YouTube, right, you'll see this video of the last night. And it's an incredible, you know, film. It's a lot of people say, oh, it takes me back to the mass picketing days, but it's mass picketing without the violence. You know, what you actually see is, and the important thing about what you're seeing is that for a bread delivery van is given a slot. If that bread delivery van misses that slot, they have to scrap everything in that van. Right, so when you actually see the video, you'll see the police, right, form a line. Right, it's very choreographed, it appears to me. Then it just kicks in with the music. But you see the police form this line and tell our people, they're causing an obstruction, so therefore they're making some, breaking some law on the highway because they stood on the highway. So all of the people sort of turn their backs to the police. I mean, because obviously they said that, if they're standing on the highway, that's when they break the law. They started to mill about. So it shows them going around constantly in circles, and all the way through, this wagon can't get out. And they managed to get 6 out of 46. And all of that stuff
all of that product, never getting to the shops, you know, and they were paying £2,000 per scab. £2,000 per scab, that's what it was costing them. And they actually said to our members, certain key members, because they couldn't run the production lines, they had all these managers coming in as well, they couldn't do it either. And they actually offered our members £2,000 each to cross the picket line. And our members said no. No, they said
Brilliant,
no.
marvellous principle, yeah.
They went out on a principle. And that's the key. I mean, they lost £1,000 each. It was they were on £500 a week. They had 2 weeks strike. Yeah, they were out a week, in a week, out a week. You know, they lost £1,000. You know, but to them it was worth it because of the reasons why they did it.
Absolutely.
You know, because I mean, there's not high-paid jobs in Wigan. If they'd have lost that dispute, it would have meant that people coming into that factory would have been on minimum wage.
Yeah.
You know, instead of £13 an hour.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what they're on. They're on £13 an hour.
Mm.
You know, so that's what they would have been giving up. And it could have been their children, their brother, their sister, their mother, their father, you know, their son, their daughter. It could have been, you know, any member of their family who needed that job.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons why. You know, it was a spectacular win. You know, it's a significant
What
win.
would you say the average age group of the people working there?
It's
Fair.
mixed. It's mixed.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I mean, some of the kids that were on the 0-hour contracts. I mean, you know, we're talking 20, 21, and they were all on
It's
strike.
interesting that I'm very sort of mindful of the fact that the younger workforce now haven't had the experience of trade unionism and working in that sort of, and it's so good that, you know, if you have that sort of age group and people that try to tell you that solidarity action is a thing of the past, you'll never get that again. Your members have proved
We've got four new reps out of it, and all of them are young.
Yeah.
4 new reps out of it. So I mean, and they're like under 25.
Yeah.
You know, they've loved it. They've absolutely loved it. You know, I mean, like I say, the 24 people on the 0-hour contracts went out from day one. You know, they went on strike with everybody else because they were members of the union. You know, they went out on strike.
Did they join the union before the dispute or at the time of it?
They actually joined the union before.
Yeah.
They actually joined the union before because they knew what they were fighting for. You know, they knew what the issues were about. You know, and Wigan's Wigan, I suppose. I mean, you know, it's an old mining town, so you know, there's a pretty strong tradition of trade unionism there anyway. But having said that, you know, there's lots and lots of factories that aren't. I mean, we used to have a Rathbones factory. You know, we only had about 45% of the workers.
The which
in
factory site?
A Rathbones site.
Oh yeah.
That only had about 45% membership. You know, it must have been obviously at the top end where Moss Pit was, but which seemed to get all the trade unionists in. And Kale Lane one was.
Yeah.
But it was, and it is a significant. I mean, everybody goes on about you know, the disastrous effect of Ineos on United. I mean, the reality is, I mean, they were up against it. I mean, those people were being threatened. You know, they were bullied. It's you know, to me, we should be condemning the Prime Minister. You know, not just because he's a Tory, but he let down 800 British citizens, 800 voters, for a guy that moved to Switzerland to avoid paying his tax. That's what that guy did.
And now there was a lead story this morning. There's to be about 200 job losses.
200 job losses
over the next.
Which means that they've cut the redundancy pay, so they're now only going to get statutory redundancy pay.
Yeah.
They've cut the pay, so they're going to get it at a lesser rate.
Absolutely.
So it's made it as cheap as possible. But yet that guy's going to get £125 million of taxpayer cash.
Yeah.
Now we've given him £125 million, and those 200 people, what will those 200 people cost on benefit?
Exactly, yeah. And they knew that when they carved up this deal.
Of course he did, which is why he wanted to get those changes in.
Yeah. I
mean, I've always had, you know, when I was a branch secretary and I became a full-time official, and now, I've always had this belief. If a company comes to you and says we want to change your redundancy terms, it's because they've got redundancy. and you don't give them up at all. You fight for them and you keep them, because the more expensive it is to get rid of a worker, the more likely it is that they'll find an alternative. You know, and I stick to those principles.
Absolutely,
I never give up my
too.
redundancy payments. You know, and those people that did, I mean, I used to work at Burton's Foods. Well, you'll know it as Symbols Biscuits, right? Because it got took over by Burton's Foods. But Burton's in Lantarnham did away with their redundancy payments. Burton's in Morton did away with their redundancy payments. Blackpool kept them. Edinburgh did away with them. It was the only site that never had redundancies. Correct. It was Blackpool. Because it cost them 3 times the wage. Whereas in all those other places, it was statutory. So depending on age, it was like a week or a week and a half. You know, I mean, that's what happens. You know, that's what happens. I mean, the only site within the Burton's group that doesn't have agency, Blackpool. Why? Because they can't replace the workers with redundancy and bring them in cheaper. And when they threaten to do it, they threaten to go out and strike. You know, so again, you know, it's about making those decisions about the type of workplace that you want. I mean, because I tell you now, I mean, Burton's Foods is about here, so of manufacturing in Blackpool. You take Burton's Foods out, there's nothing left. You know, we've got the civil service, but even that, you know, is absolutely getting hammered. I mean, most of that's been privatised now anyway, and you know, there's a lot of agency workers in it getting paid minimum wage. You know, so I mean, there's all sorts of opportunities. You know, for the trade union movement to start fighting a campaign and talking of fighting a campaign next year. We're launching a campaign about fast food workers, because I mean, I don't know if you know. I mean, the first 3 months of this year, McDonald's made £900 million. £900 million, but the average pay of a McDonald's worker, £5.01.
Minimum wage.
Because it's age related. You said
under 21.
Absolutely, because it's age related. So, I mean, if ever there was a company that could afford to pay, they are definitely one of them. £900 million, $1.3 billion. That's what they got for 3 months, and they could only pay the workers £5.01. So I mean, we've got the occasional member in there, you know, but what we're intending to do next year is raise that as an issue. We're going to organise days of action. We're going to invite people to come and support it. You know, we're going to be working obviously with John McDonald, and we're going to be working with United Resistance and probably Boycott Workfare and all of these other organising groups, the street groups, the people who know what it's really like, and raise this issue, because it's majority of these people who are working in McDonald's are kids, and they're being exploited. The reality is, I mean, the most pressing thing is we've got to start pushing people's pay up. We've got to stop this race to the bottom. And the trade union movement, whether it gets members out of it or not, has got to start looking at what we've done historically and get back to doing it. And that to me is an important part. We used to do that sort of thing. We campaigned on those sort of issues. We campaigned on fairness and justice and equality. Those are the things that we did as a trade union. And we've got to do that again. We've got to go back to the basics and get back to our roots. And and that's working. That's why I say. I mean, to me, one of the best examples is the Hovis thing to me, because of the people who came out and supported it. It was the whole of the Labour movement, all of it. Even those fringe political parties, that people say, oh, we don't have no trucking with, but they all recognised the importance, of ordinary working people in struggle, and that to me is such an important, thing for people to do, and such an important opportunity to gain, understand, and then take that knowledge and experience to the benefit of others. And I think that's what we want to do next year. We really want to tackle this issue of exploitative pay and workfare
And you know, the new Blaze Trail or whatever it's called, apprenticeship, traineeship things. You know, where our kids are going to be made to go and work for 5 months for free just to go on an apprenticeship where they can earn £2.65 an hour. You know, I mean, it's scandalous. It's scandalous.